So all good to go with roofing. So various different forms of roofing. A lot of it comes down to personal choice and the aesthetics that it enables. So roofs are one of those. Well, it's like the main area in which architects really get to express themselves, and it also dictates once again a lot of the design flowing underneath. So yeah, all sorts of things are possible. Yeah, steel sheet roofing enables a lot of stuff to go on. You've got the capacity to either bend things on site. So this roof here, that would have been bent on site. So they've got just a slight radius applied to that. Once again, you feel like a bit like a broken record, but look at the product manufacturer specifications as to what you can do with this stuff. Right? People that manufacture this roofing, they'll tell you can bend it to a certain amount. Right? It has a certain base metal thickness. It has a certain yield strength in the steel. You can bend it to something on site. If you want to bend it more than that, more than what they say you can do, then it needs to be bent within the factory. So it's bent in the roll former in the factory. I'll pass some things around straight away. So that's our steel roofing, and of course you got tile roofing as well. So this one's a concrete tile. So actually, I'll pass that around. I'll pass around a bit of sheeting, and in the process, I guess it's a bit of a no-brainer. But tiles are really quite heavy in relation to our sheet roofing. Therefore, that has to be considered in the whole design of the framing. But then you've got different capabilities with a tile roof or sheet roof.
May I ask you, the tile?
Yes.
This is that on one, but for waterproof or for proofing. So I know how to make the tile connect each other and make sure no water leak.
Yeah. So that would be good to have a couple there. So which one's our top? So this is our top here like that, and our next tile goes underneath it. So the next tile starts underneath. So let's say there's also a tile that's not, but this goes underneath. So you have the mapping. That's water. It drops down onto the next one, drops to the next one, drops to the next one. There are some ribs here to help stop water being blown back up there. So the other tile sits on there like that. There's those ribs that create a bit of a barrier.
Yeah, I can understand. This have and connect to the pier.
Yes.
But from this way, I didn't find some connection to each other. The up, down, up, down.
Yeah. So they just sit on top of each other, and then this top section that's tied down to the back. So either by a screw or by a wire fixing.
There's no grout used.
No, you use a grout for all your ridge tiles. So all the ridge tiles going across the top are concreted in.
And is this an old one that's been used? So that's why the colours.
That might be an old one. Yeah, I didn't bring that one.
I think that might be the exposed part. See.
Oh, that is the exposed section as well. That's the unexposed.
That whole is exposed.
This is up,
on top.
this is down.
Yeah.
I just wonder, this here and this is different. But so if there are something and can connect to the here one by one, I can understand. But now.
Yeah, so that's just about the lapping over top of each other. So one laps over the top of each other, and in the main your water runs out. Yes, and there's a certain so you can't go, and that's one of the main limitations of the tile roof, is that you can't go a very flat roof. So you have to have a steeper pitched roof to enable that water to drain off. So with your sheet roofing, you can do basically a flat roof. because you don't have any joins and laps and things like that. With a tile roof, it has to have pitch to it.
So we can't just have the flat.
You can't do a flat roof with tiles, because otherwise the water just goes in the sides, goes in everywhere. Also with tiles, what you also need to have underneath is sarking. So sarking is a good idea anyhow, whether it's tile roof or sheet roof. Yeah. But that sarking is that, this stuff here, that builder's wrap stuff. So that goes on underneath your tile battens, so that for any moisture that makes it in there, because moisture will make it in there with tile roof, that runs down as well. So it's like the second layer of protection. But also it's another layer of protection for in a bushfire prone area. You have to have a sarking with a low flammability index. So corrugated zinc aluminum steel sheeting. It's written here, most popular cladding. Yeah, maybe. So it's sort of 50-50. If you drive around new subdivisions, you see a lot of tiles, and you see, it's about 50-50 your tiles to your sheet roofing. Personally, I much prefer sheet roofing. Just because of its ease and its capabilities. Previously, a lot of sheet roofing was done by Galv. So that's a bit of new Galv sheeting. So that's a nice new bit. That's a very old bit of Galv sheeting. That's what happens to Galv. It greys off. It goes grey like this. And some councils don't actually mind you. They don't like reflective surfaces and so on. They say yes, we don't really want you having reflective surfaces, but they'll accept Galv because Galv greys off very nicely. You get those really muted tones. Whereas,
how do you stop it from rusting though? And greying off? Not really.
You can attach a sacrificial anode that's more reactive than your Galv, and then keep replacing your sacrificial anodes. That's a bit of a, so you get your council to allow you to put the Galv in on the proviso that it'll grey off, and then you stop it so the grey off. I don't have any zinc aluminum sheeting, but that's a piece of light gauge steel framing with a zinc aluminum coating. So that's just a piece of light gauge steel framing. But I was showing that for showing the zinc aluminum coating. So the zinc aluminum, it's not really the same. No, that's probably the best way to put it.
Can you brush that off or anything like that? Can you feel like you can still brush the rust off?
Not a good idea. Yeah, it's not a good idea too, because by scrubbing away that rust, you're also scrubbing away some of the zinc coating as well and accelerating the process. Things will rust very quickly once that mild steel is exposed to the atmosphere, it will rust quite quickly. So that coating on the outside, with Galv, that coating works as an anode. So that's rusting, instead of your roof, it has a limited life. With the zinc aluminum, the benefit of the zinc aluminum is when that oxidizes, it forms a protective coating on the outside of itself, stopping it from oxidizing further. So with zinc aluminum, you won't get that rust. It won't deplete itself over time because it forms a protective coating on it. Whereas, with Galv, it's just a matter of time till it corrodes through. Some important things to think about with sheet roofing is transportability. So the maximum length of your sheets, that's going to be typically around the 18 meters or so. But also, if you're approaching 15 meters length of your sheets, check with the supplier and tell them, we're building this house in this location, can we get the sheets there? Because some suppliers won't want to transport long sheets to certain locations because of the size of the truck that's required, of course. Also, another important thing to consider is what is the effective coverage of those sheets. That will tell you how many sheets you need to order. So if we've got a whole heap of, I'll find some sheets of the same profile. it's got to be 760 millimetres effective coverage. That includes that much lap. Well, laps are going to happen like that. So we've got essentially a 1 fluid lap of our sheets. So from this edge here to the edge of this next sheet, that's 760 millimetres. It's not always going to be 760, but by and large, that's the number. So, but also once again, check with the manufacturer. So when you're specifying this is the roof sheeting we want, so you're not doing things like having ugly cuts of a roof sheet being cut in a section. It's good to work in increments of those 760 or 762 as it is sometimes. Otherwise, if you do have to do cuts, you want that to be not in an end sheet, but in one of the next sheets in, so you can have some laps happening over it, so you don't have that cut exposed. They also come in various different thicknesses as well, which will dictate the span. They come in a bunch of different profiles, which will also dictate the span. That span obviously tells you about your purlin spacing. So, just a rule of thumb, but never rely on the rule of thumb. Always look at what the manufacturers say. The rule of thumb is your end spans. That's from the second purlin to the final purlin, is going to be 900 millimetres, and then your internal spans, so the ones further back from the edge, are going to be 1200 millimetres. But that will vary with your different thicknesses steel and your different profiles as well. For example, this profile here is called a custom orb. That custom orb achieves less span than this one. Now that looks to untrained eye, they look basically the same. This one has a slightly rounder radius. So the tops are more curved and the valleys are more curved, rather than custom orb, where it's a tighter radius at the top and then a flat section, tighter radius at the bottom, flat section. So that's that one. What's that one called? Can't remember the.
So this is just for visual purposes, or there is any basic reason for the difference?
You get a slightly larger stand out of this one. This one uses a bit more metal, though.
So it will be more
What's that?
It will be more expensive than the other one?
Typically, yes, but not always. And that's right. This one's called True Oak. I was trying to remember the name of that. I don't know. So that's produced by a company called Revolution Roofing for quite a while, and it may still be the case that they're supplying their True Oak at the same price they supply their custom orb. So, but yeah, typically, yeah, I've chosen this profile for visual purposes before, because it just gives a slightly I don't know, yeah, a slightly different look. Like, just, okay, that looks slightly different. It's a more traditional profile, but you do have to consider that if you're going to use this profile, that things that are manufactured to fit into this one, which is really common, fit into that. So yeah, so I had a flashing box for electrical conduit on the side. Didn't quite fit this stuff. Also, the rubber that you get for sealing all your gaps behind your flashings doesn't quite fit it well. So there are drawbacks in using it as well. But then you've got other profiles. That sort of profile will span far larger distance than your custom orb profile and your True Oak, etc., etc. Yeah, I'll go through those fairly quickly. So you've got lots of different names for your various different profiles made by various different manufacturers. Your major manufacturers in Adelaide are going to be Fielders, Lysart, Revolution, and Stramit. Oh, and then you've got Stratco as well. Stratco produce a lot of everything, really. if I'm missing somebody out there. But of course, they've all got their different profiles and all their different names for everything. So that tradition, well, the very common corrugated profile is called custom orb. That piece over there, that Gauff, the newer Gauff piece, that's not blue orb, but yeah, blue orb is like your custom orb, except it's made with a metal that has a lighter, a reduced yield strength, so it can be bent easy. But it's much thicker. It's about 0.6 millimeters base metal thickness. So all this one here, that'll be 0.42 millimeters thick. And that 0.42 and 0.48, you can actually feel the difference in the thickness of it. You hold both different pieces of metal. It's actually a discernible thickness. That blue orb once again is 0.6 mil thick. So once again, it's discernibly thicker. Then you got things like spandex. I don't actually have any spandex here with me, which is a profile like this, but it's straight. Yeah, straight lines. Flip lock. So these are all manufacturers' names, by the way. For all intents and purposes, I don't know if that's actually clip lock or whether it's something else, but that's what clip lock looks like. So that's held on with a series of clips like that. So they go onto your purlins, and then that just clips straight on to those clips. And then the next sheet clips onto this one like that. So there's nothing actually piercing the sheet to hold it down. They just go on a whole series of clips. Long line, so once again, it's another profile I don't have in here. It's a profile much like this, except the pans. So this one has little ribs in the pans. You see those little ribs in the pans like that? That provides strength to those pans to stop them doing this. With things like long line, you don't actually have those ribs in there. You have a very flat pan. It's a very nice look. It's a very there's a lot of building being done or high-end architectural work done with sheeting profiles like that. So often referred to as standing seam cladding, where you've got really flat pans and then really high seams, and then flat pans, high seams. To do something like that, you need to have a thicker metal. So the base metal thickness of this needs to be thicker, because if it's quite thin, it does what's called oil canning, which gets really wavy. I don't think that's always necessarily a bad look. There's a building, the Drill Core Library across here towards South Road from us. It's a place with lots of cordon steel on the outside and concrete. The back section of that has been done with something like Long Line or Max Line, one of those flat pan standing seam claddings. That's actually got a bit of oil canning in it, but I think that actually works nicely for the aesthetic. That one, so that's kind of like Long Line, except it's a wider pan. Once again, that's Max Line. I think that's Max Line. So that's everything written on it. That's named after a substrate architect called Max Pritchard. Yeah. What's that? Yeah, Max does a lot of his stuff is environmentally friendly. I think he's retired now, but
he's still at Glenelg. He's still got a studio at Glenelg.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I think I've seen because he sort of sits in the front when he works.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I've probably seen him only a few months ago.
Yeah.
His daughter's taken over, I think. Yeah. Yeah, she's got a different style, obviously. But yeah, I've seen him working in there.
Yeah, right. Okay. Yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Done lots of cool good things.
There's
some of those trickier sites.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a period at which doing with the tanks that I was building, because they're larger tanks for places that have only rainwater. was doing a tank on a Max Pritchard house like really regularly. It's like, oh, there's another one. He does so much work.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
But not
all over the place.
Not sort of metropolitan, is it more in hills?
It's more in the hills.
Yeah. So I don't think I can see not anything, or maybe like Norwood, places like that. So it's certainly not locally around here.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know of stuff that's in close. There was there's a place down at Pallet Cove in a very residential area that I saw that was on the hills. But predominantly it's sort of dotted around the hills and the southern hills sort of region.
It's always wondered why his firm was in Glenelg. It seems like such an odd spot. But he must travel a lot.
Yeah, but possibly. Yeah. So that's your standing seam stuff. So it suffers from oil canning. Once again, held on by clips like this. So those clips screwed down, and that sheeting just clips on top of those. That clip. Pass it around if you so how many interesting bits?
So it's like the clip system being not rated in a specific wind zone, or
so once again, look at the manufacturers for it. But I'd definitely say for the winds we get in South Australia, you probably wouldn't have an issue with it. So you say to the manufacturer, look, we're in N3 wind zone, and they'll probably go, that's fine. Yeah. If you're stepping into N4, then there might be some issues. So that's what a lot of your manufacturer's literature is set out like. So you have your various different profiles there, custom orb, custom blue orb, etc. And then your base metal thickness, and from your base metal thickness you get all this other information. So you got your spans, so your purlin spacing. So if you go for 0.42 thickness, then your single span is 700, your end span is 900, internal is 1200. But if you up it to 0.48 base metal thickness, well then you can get away with an end span of 1300 millimeters and an internal span of 1700 millimeters. So it's a choice. So it's a choice about economics there. Do we want to spend more on the sheeting and less on the purlins, or more on the purlins and less on the sheeting? Available in long lengths, and so yes, you do have your limitations at sort of above 15 metre length, but also, and it's something that's rarely done, but it's done for larger commercial projects. Or I saw on Grand Designs somebody out near the Barossa built a really long house, and they brought out a portable roll former for manufacturing the sheets on site. So the way that all of these sheet products are made is you've got this massive big coil of steel. Does anybody see any big steel coils on the back of trucks travelling around? I'll quickly do an image search of that. So much, what's oil steel now on coil steel? So much of, so many building products are made in this. Those things, see those, get about that?
it's like duct tape.
Yeah, like a giant, it looks like a giant roll of duct tape and incredibly heavy. So you use things like big gantry cranes to lift them and put them in place. So typically you get, and then so that's your coil steel, and then I'll show you what a roll former is. And these are your machines, the roll formers. That's probably a good one to look at. So you can see, so it starts off as this big coil of flat steel, and you'll have a coil Like if you go out and visit like Lysart or something, and if they let you into the manufacturing part, you'll see they've got a coil for wilderness and a coil for wallaby and for all your different colour colours. They have a coil for Zincalume and Galv and all that sort of stuff. So they've got all these coils, and they'll go, today we're manufacturing zinc, like Zincalume. So they'll have their big Zincalume coil on there, and they'll be producing all of that. So yeah, with that Galv stuff, previously I've ordered that. It's like you've got to wait till Tuesday. Tuesday they do Galv, and then because to change over these coils and so on is quite a big process. You've got to get the forklift in there or the gantry track crane or whatever and lift those coils off, bring in another coil. It's a big process. So they go, all right, we've got all these old orders in this colour. Let's produce all of that day, and so it's just fed in as coil steel, and then those roll formers. The first one will produce just a small indentation through to the last roller, which is actually forming the final shape of material. You can get portable roll formers. So these machines can be taken out onto site, sit on the back of a truck where you've got your coil steel feeding into that. It goes through the roll former and produces the roof sheeting at the end, which is fed directly up onto the roof and snipped off. And then another one is sent off and snipped off and put straight up.
Well, why? Just because it's cheaper or something?
Well, because if you've got a really long run from one point to another point, it is still good to avoid having laps. So you don't have one sheet overlapping another sheet. Because when you do have one sheet overlapping another sheet, well, you can see it for a start. You see a lap, but then you also get condensation in there. That's where it's going to rust. That's where you're going to have your issues. Yeah.
So on that note, with that we can see that that's like 20 or so roll formers.
Yeah.
Whereas the portable one would probably be like at most like probably 5.
Yeah, I've never actually seen one in operation. But yes, it would
because of the fact that you would get a higher quality roll forming with the 20 or so.
Yeah.
Because you'd be able to get 20 smaller increments.
Yes.
As opposed to 5 or so, or maybe 1.
Yeah.
Large increment.
Yeah.
So you'd probably be trading off quality for the fact you can get the long span, because you could just take the roll, which would be relatively compact, compared to the sheets at the size of whatever the truck bed is.
That's definitely a thing. And we've had representatives in here from sheeting manufacturers before. No students have asked that question: is what is the trade-off in quality that comes out from one of those transportable compact roll formers? I know one of the things they can't do is they can't do certain profiles of sheets. They say, okay, with this transportable one we can't do all these profiles. But that's a really good question I think to put to one of them. I haven't got an answer on that or heard anybody put that question. But that's
because I would actually imagine that like the last few of those rollers aren't actually doing much. It would probably just be making sure that there's no dents in it at that point.
Mm-hmm.
So like it would be like the first 12 or so is actually getting the profile. And then the last whatever would just be taking out any imperfections from that process.
That will be. I won't be able to because of Look, I'll see how it pans out for the semester. See if we can get any manufacturers in here to ask some questions of straight up. But if we do, I think that's a really good one to put to them to ask about that. About any trade-offs in quality from using portable roll formers as opposed to manufacturing. But another trade-off with another difficulty is when you do really long sheets, if you have to do any pierce fixings, there are limitations with that because you get expansion and contraction of sheets as well. So when steel gets hot, it expands. When it gets cold, it shrinks. And you're typically talking, amounts in millimeters, but if you've got a pierce fixing through, like you've got a roofing screw straight through, and then you've got your roofing screws right at the end, and that sheet is expanding and contracting, that roofing screw is under a lot of pressure as it goes through that cycle of expanding and contraction. Hence, your clipped-on profiles like this perform much better for really long sheets because they can do their expanding and contracting on those clips. They can do that. So that's your clip underneath. It doesn't slide very easily once it's slipped in place, but it can actually do that in those tiny little increments.
Thermal properties as well. Like, would that improve the thermal properties of that roofing?
Okay.
So if you don't have that, that exposure and that movement is more free.
Well, when you say thermal properties, what do you
So
mean?
obviously, like with the screw, because they contract and move around a fair bit.
Yeah.
That obviously loosens that hold, so it makes the air tightness of that.
Oh yes, yes. With all your roofing, you have these little neoprene washers that sit underneath,
Okay.
and those neoprene washers, if the roofers have done the job correctly, the neoprene washers will stay intact. It's very easy to break them. If you over tension a screw, they spit out the side, and that's the sealing gone with them, and they've been stretched already. But if your roofers do a good job, that neoprene washer, that takes up a decent amount, and then provides sealing for a long time.
Yeah, it's always fun getting up on the roof and finding those things split.
Yeah,
It's always fun.
Yeah, like little millipedes around.
Yeah.
Yes, but they're incredibly easy to break. But good roofers, when you're driving in roofing screws or tech screws or whatever that you've done, thousands of them, you get that feel for when it's just about to squash. So good roofers shouldn't be breaking them. Another consideration with your roofing is the colour of your roof. So with our brand new Galv like that's going to reflect a lot of light, and it's going to keep the roof much cooler than our dark colours like that. Sunlight on that, the sunlight or the radiation gets absorbed, and you get a lot of that heat transferred into your house. Other things to think about are the finishes. So, yeah, unfortunately that's our only piece of zinc aluminum here, but zinc aluminum is actually a really common coating. Under all of your ColourBond coating, it's actually zinc aluminum underneath. So the ColourBond is basically just provides a colour, and then the zinc aluminum underneath provides a protection. So if ColourBond gets scratched a little bit, it's still actually protected because it's got the zinc aluminum underneath it. But there are also some differences in terms of the anodic reactions that happen. When you've got a ColourBond roof, it's what's called an inert catchment. That means that the water going onto there doesn't get changed in its polarity by running on that ColourBond because there's no electrochemical reaction happening there because it is just a very inert material. But if you've got ColourBond and then you have Galv gutters, what that does is where the water drips off your ColourBond, it rusts out your Galv gutters. So if you're going to have Galv gutters, it's much better to have Galv roof as well, because then that water and I don't know, possibly it's dissolved ions in the water or something, helps actually protect your Galv gutter as well. So beware whenever you're mixing materials in a roof. So if you're using ColourBond, your roof, use a pig gutters as well. But although ColourBond is essentially just a colour coating on the outside, I've noticed it does protect things a bit. It's a really strange thing. When you've got insects that get squashed, like insects must be fairly acidic or something, you get insects squashed between two bits of zinc balloon, it rusts, well it doesn't rust, but it corrodes that zinc balloon really heavily. And that's an entry point for rust as well, whereas if you get insects squashed by ColourBond, it doesn't do that. So ColourBond, I think, is another one of those additional layers of protection in my experience from what I've seen from ColourBond. ColourBond is incredibly easy to scratch and to mark when it's installed. The installers have to just be super careful with it. When it's really fresh, it's really soft. It scratches super easily. Possibly that's a thing for designers to keep into consideration as well. But if you're going to be building something in a really hard to access location where sheets have to be carried in, maybe Galv is a better option for you than ColourBond. Also, atmosphere exposure conditions, so areas close to the sea. Doesn't mean you can't use sheeting, but you have to use different forms of sheeting. So for highly exposed marine environments, you can actually get stainless steel sheeting. This is more about installers. So when working on site, there are lots of tools now for cutting all your steel roofing, like your super shears and things like that just glide through, do nice neat cuts, etc. You rarely need to use anything like an angle grinder or any hot grinding equipment for cutting sheets now. So don't do that on site. Use your mechanical shears. Talk about those. With your sheeting, where it gets, I've got one here. Oh, this one here. With the ends of your sheets, when it hits the ridge of your roof, you actually get a spanner and you bend all these bits up. That's just to stop water getting blown back up there, because you have your ridge capping which sits on top. So the ridge capping there, that'll sit on top of that, and then bending these up will help stop water getting in there. I think a really nice detail, and it's look out for it as you drive around. You'll see roofs that have a scribed ridge capping and roofs that don't have a scribed ridge capping. Scribing is where you cut the profile into the sheet there, so it sits really nicely in there. Personally, I think it's a very nice detail. It's one of those things that you can distinguish as a quality roof from a cheaper roof. Obviously, it takes a lot of time scribing in, so you can't get that done in the factory. You have to do that on site. You do that by cutting along like this. So it does take a lot of time to do. But it provides weather protection, provides additional sealing for air movement. It provides protection in bushfire-prone areas from embers getting in as well, although there's other ways to approach that, like with mineral fibre insulation, whatever. The main thing is to stop weather getting in there. I don't have any bits of scribe capping, I don't think. Show that. Has anybody seen scribed ridge capping before, or scribed hip capping?
I think I've seen the ends of it, just on side.
Right, these little
piece two and two together.
Yeah, these little waving. I'll just quickly search it. See if there's actually good.
It's just giving you scribes.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. So that bit there has been scribed, and that bit there is yet to be scribed. So that's the process of someone cutting it in there like that. Yeah, so so it ends up looking. I think personally, it ends up looking a bit neater when it's done. That's something that, you know, it probably won't get done unless you specify it. Unless you tell on your drawings, you say, yeah, scribe ridge capping, scribe hip capping. Your builder won't cost that in. Also, when you're using a roof profile like this, when it gets to the gutters, you do some small cuts here, and you lift those trays into the gutter as well to ensure that the water flows down at the ends as well. Yeah, so there we go. There's the process of turning up trays and turning trays down. Also, I don't have any. Well, actually, no, we do have some in the storeroom. I didn't bring any over here. Insulated roof panels. So that's what this whole building is done with. They're roof panels that have a piece of metal sheeting and then some what's called PIR foam, which is an expandable rigid foam, and then a piece of metal sheeting underneath as well. So it's this sandwich panel that is actually a roof sheet that provides insulation, and it also provides a lot of structure to that sheet, so you can span long distances with that. Yeah, Lee, this might be important to you in terms of flashing, because where roofs leak, by and large, it happens at flashings. Where flashings have been.
Yeah, so it's exactly where our second story comes over the top story downstairs. So
right.
It's in the exact point, sort of like where our, exactly. So it just hasn't been sort of corrected.
Yeah. So it'll be about those flashing details. And a way to think about flashing is it's not actually about producing a seal. It's not about producing something which is waterproof. It's about directing water to where you want it to go. Because basically when it comes to sheet metal, you can't really get seals happening. You can seal some things with silicon, etc., but you should never rely on that, because, as I said before, you get expansion and contraction, that pulls things apart. Flashing should always be seen as you do a lap, so have one material lapping over another to ensure that the water drains away. But having said that, there are other flashing materials, like there's various different malleable forms of flashing with aluminium in there, and then a sticky coating on the outside that can be bent into sheets and will actually stick to those sheets. There's flashing things like that as well. So you can produce flashings just straight from pieces of sheeting. Oh, that's a bit of wood. Don't have any little bits of flashing here, but essentially a ridge capping is a piece of flashing. So you've got your main sheets that come over here, and this is a piece of flashing which goes on the top. Also, gutters and flashing are very close cousins as well. So sometimes you have some roof sheeting coming down, you have a flashing over a section like that, which actually ends up performing very much like a gutter as well. Actually, I'll do it. It's always a risk Google searching flashing. So I think if I put roof flashing in, it'll be alright. So there's a whole series of flashing details. A lot of those are for tiles. So that's a flashing around a chimney. I think that flashing actually has a name, but I can't think of what that name is, where you've got a gable end roof butting up against a wall. Yeah. And that's a parapet flashing, where you've got a wall heading up higher than a roof, and then you have this capping over the top, and then your flashing goes underneath that. So flashing details are something that architects, designers, drafters have to think about. And you typically you'll design those flashings. But an important thing to think about in designing those flashings is the more folds you get in the flashing, the more expensive it is to produce. So typically you'll send those flashing details off to your sheet roof supplier and say, yeah, when you supply all these sheets, I want you to supply these flashings as well. I want them bent up and to be produced in this particular shape and with these particular degree bends, whatever. And they'll say, yeah, can do. But the more bends and so on you have in there, the more expensive it gets. And it gets very expensive when you do complex flashings. So do be aware of that. Sometimes it's much better to have actually several pieces, like with single folds rather than a complex piece. So Revolution Roofing, they're steel sheeting manufacturer. They've got a specific section on their website about ordering flashings. To see if we can find something that gives some good. Well, here, yeah. So there's a whole series of examples of various different standard flashings here on their site. But the specification that might, yeah. So this is the sort of information you have to supply to them. So you have to draw up exactly what that flashing has to be and what angle you want everything bent to. It's best to get that done early. You don't want to order your roof sheeting and then order go right. These are the flashings we need. I need them tomorrow, because there may be situations whereby they say, oh, actually we can't make that flashing for you. We can't bend it up as you wish. So sometimes there's going to have to be a bit of back and forth. But here's different barge capping flashings available. So that's all there. So yeah, it's good to have a flick through and understand the limitations with some of your flashings. With some flashings, it's really good to have those folded over ends like that to stop moisture coming through. So if we have say that as a valley gutter, for example, we've got two roofs coming together, it's really good detail to have it folded over again, one on itself once again, so that sort of springs up against the roof sheeting, and any moisture wanting to go this way, for example, is stopped by that fold in there. So I'll quickly get into tiles with our last 7 minutes here. So tiles, various different materials for making tiles. You've got terracotta, concrete, and slate. Slate obviously not used very much, very labour intensive, quite expensive. By and large, the vast majority of tiles are concrete tiles like that, where it is that concrete tile passed around earlier on. But you've also got terracotta tiles which are made from baked clay. Also, fibre cement shingles, once again, not so common, and timber shingles and shakes even rarer. Metal tiles, I suggest steering away from specifying metal tiles. Look, yeah, well, a lot of people have moved away from. So it was a real fad in the, I don't know, the 1950s, 60s, 70s, something like that, where people had an old sheet roof, they wanted to dress up, and they put metal tiles over the top. They really leak a lot. There may be some manufacturers of metal tiles now making good ones, but I don't know. Under your tiles, you have to have sake underneath to help direct that moisture to the gutters. Those tiles have to be fixed down. You can't just have them sitting loosely on your battens. So that's going to happen with a screw fixing or a wire fixing. Obviously, when you start getting to a really steep roof, you must have mechanical fixings, so screw fixings to those tiles to retain them. As mentioned previously, it's the weight of your roof materials is important as well for designing the rest of your building. So your concrete roof tiles alone, just this piling, is 44 kilograms per square metre, whereas your steel roofing, just the material component alone is 4.9 kilograms per square metre. Also, an important design consideration, it's a piece of the roof that a lot of people see are your gutters. Like all of your roofing profiles, you've got a whole range of... There we go, it's a bit flashing. So, that's just, what is that, like a long line gutter, which has got a suit that sort of aesthetic, possibly, those two together. Flat back, it's like a half round gutter, except it's flat on the back, possibly, go nicer with that sort of profile, etc., etc. So, mostly your gutter profiles are aesthetic considerations. So that's a half round gutter, flat back gutter. Another gutter which is, I have an OG. Has anybody ever heard of an OG gutter? That's the OG profile. So that's more your Victorian traditional sort of thing. So if you're restoring a house in St. Peter's or something like that, that might be the go. Rather than that, that's a very 1990s sort of aesthetic. So typically it's about the look, and that might be, I don't know, architectural to use the term loosely. I think you know what I mean by that regard. And strangely enough, I don't think I have. Lovely piece of quad gutter. So quad gutter is by and large the most common gutter you'll see anywhere. So drive around the suburbs, probably the bulk of what you'll see is what's called quad gutter. So yeah, that's probably the one to remember. Quad gutters. Those gutters. Actually, something's great to search and keep in your kit is online box gutter calculator. Have I talked to you guys about that before? Yeah, search that one out. That one's really cool. Online box gutter calculator is produced by this plumber who retired, and so there's the Australian standard 3500.3 or 3500 point something or 6 for sizing up box gutters, eaves gutters, etc. Somebody made an Excel spreadsheet that's just simplified all of that. You punch in your location, it gets the rainfall intensity from that, put in the size of your roof, tells you what size gutter you need, what size downpipe you need at what frequency. It makes it super easy. But your eaves gutters have to have a 1 in 500 fall, and for box gutters they have to have a 1 in 100 fall for residential. Commercial, it's different. So commercial, that can be designed with different massive box cutters, etc., with less fall. Also, as a maximum, your downpipes have to be 12 metres apart. Gutters do have to have some form of overflow protection if they're in a position that will cause water to flow back into the building if they're blocked. So if we get tennis balls and things going up in the gutters and blocking the downpipes, we want to ensure that when it rains and that fills up, that either the water is going to spill out over the edge, or you can have slotted gutters which enable it to spill out the face of it. Fairly unsightly, a lot of people don't choose to have slotted gutters. Or you can space the gutter away from your fascia slightly. So if you've got a gap and you put some little back blocks in there, let's say this piece of timber is our fascia like that. We're mounting a gutter on that fascia. If we produce just a very slight gap behind that, if this gutter overflows, it flows down the front face of the fascia. It doesn't go back inside the building. So with our quad gutter, the height of that is very much the same as that. That doesn't have a great deal of overflowing potential. But looking at your flat back gutter like that, when this fills up, the water's definitely going out the back of that. It's not going out the front of it. So we want to ensure that if your gutter has the potential of flowing back into your eaves or into your house, or so there's some overflow protection for it. So a whole series of different gutter profiles. And box gutters, much maligned, but also enable some architecturally fantastic stuff to happen as well. So box gutters is wherever you've got water that's not flowing off the edge of your roof, wherever it's flowing back in to something. Either as a really flat roof like this that meets in the middle, or where you've got a wall and a roof meeting a wall, you've got to have, or it's parapet gutter there, but that's basically a box gutter as well. Or where you have two roofs coming down joining each other, you have to have a box gutter in there. Another thing which is often missed by roofers or causes a lot of problems is when you've got water flow happening from one roof onto another. If you've got all of this roof catchment happening up here going into that spreader, but you don't actually have a spreader on the end of that, you just have a pipe going here, you just get a lot of water travelling down those couple of flutes there, hitting your gutter and causing damage as well. So spreaders are important where you've got one roof flowing onto another. There we've spoken about flashings a little bit earlier. So that's all of our roof claddings. Now obviously there's plenty of research for you to do at home. Some things I'd suggest researching at home are looking at your different roof sheeting manufacturers. So have a look at Fielders and Lysart and Revolution and Strummer. Check out their products, see what they've got online, see what information they produce. Also maybe have a look at structurally insulated panels as well for roofing. It's not something we're looking at for this project, but it's something that's very interesting for roofing that we may be touching on future projects. And yeah, have a look at your various tile manufacturers, but really their details are not differing a lot. Most of your design work and collection of information and so on is going to be around sheet roofing. So yeah, check out all the stuff that's available there, or the possibilities available there. Any questions or so? All right, well, great to see you all again, and